Thank you for tuning in to a verdict prediction episode of Joe the Lawyer. Today, I'm going to make a prediction about the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. I'm going to let you know who I think will win. But before we get to that, a couple of points that I want to make, a couple of talking points about the trial before I tell you what my prediction was. Number one, Attorney Rottenborn. I mean, this guy, he appears to be a great guy, but come on now with that name. I mean, his last name is Rottenborn. If that was my name, my last name, I might have to seriously consider changing it. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. And look, I respect sticking with a family name. I do respect that. But it's just an interesting name. I mean, who came up with that in the first place? Rottenborn. You put those two together, doesn't sound great. Again, nice guy, appeared to be a really good attorney. Number two, Amber Heard during the closing arguments was wearing glasses. I thought the glasses looked good on her. I thought that she looked better on these days during closing arguments and deliberations than she did throughout the trial. Hey, that's just the opinion of one lawyer, one man, but I thought maybe she would have had a better chance if she wore the glasses throughout the entire case. I think it would have made her a little sympathetic to the jury. And number three, the length of the jury deliberation. So the jury deliberated today for a couple of hours after closing arguments. I would expect this to be a long jury deliberation, simply because it was a long trial. And when you have a long trial, you have a lot of evidence. And how many witnesses were in this case? 20, 30, more than 30? That means there's a ton of evidence, a ton of witnesses for the jury to go through before they make their decision. I personally have done several jury trials, and one thing the jury will hear throughout the trial from the judge and often from the lawyers is they're going to be asked to look at each piece of evidence critically and to take time in analyzing it. And in my experience, I speak to most of my juries afterwards. In my experience, jurors take that duty very seriously. So after those thoughts, let's get to the good part. The reason you all came here, the same time sip. Yes, we'll do the same time sip and then the verdict prediction. Today I got some smart water. Joe's trying to be a little healthier, drink a little better beverage. So cheers with me before we get to the moment you all really came for, which is the verdict prediction. Cheers. Delicious. Okay. Good water. I don't know if you can call water delicious. Also, my name is Joe Pometto. I'm a practicing Pittsburgh attorney in Pittsburgh, PA. I do criminal, family, and personal injury. I've done many jury trials on this channel. I analyze legal news, give some legal advice. Well, not advice, legal information, and we even make legal jokes. So if you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Free way to support the show. All right, drum roll, everybody. Drum roll before we get to the verdict prediction. And remember here, I'm not making this prediction based on what's popular. I'm not making this prediction based even on my own personal opinion. I'm making this prediction based on what I observed and what I think the jury will do. And I believe the jury will find against Johnny Depp in this lawsuit, at least in regards to the claim of defamation that he has brought against Amber Heard. I also think the jury will find against Amber Heard in her claim for defamation against Mr. Depp. I think they're both going to lose. And let me tell you why. I don't think that that's going to happen because the jury believes Amber Heard, or that Amber Heard came off as credible, or that Amber Heard told the truth. I in fact, don't think that Amber Heard came off as very credible at all. And it appeared to me that she was lying perhaps most of the time. But I still think she's going to win that case. And let me connect those dots for you here. In a defamation case, The person bringing the case, Johnny Depp, has to show that the statement that damaged him was false. He has to show that the statement was false. The statement in this case, or at least the one that the trial centered on and that Johnny's attorney centered on, was the Vanity Fair article in which Amber Heard claims that she was a victim of domestic abuse. However, I think it's important, and you should do this if you're, as nerded out on the trial as I am. Read the article itself. You'll see in the article she claims to be a victim of domestic abuse, but she also claims to have been a victim of abuse when she was a child, a victim of abuse in her earlier years. And those two instances clearly fall outside of the relationship that she had with Johnny Depp. Now, the article does paint her as a victim of domestic abuse during a current relationship, and it's no large leap to say that she's referencing the relationship that she was in with Johnny Depp just prior to the article. That's an easy connection to make there. However, what she says is that she was a victim of domestic abuse. She doesn't specifically say that she was a victim of physical abuse, that she was a victim of verbal abuse. It could have been emotional abuse. It could have been abuse by text message. It could have been abuse by third party. The terms that she used were very general in nature. Well, what does that mean? That means it's harder for Mr. Depp to say that the statement was false, because it could appear that she was telling the truth, at least to some degree, if there was any abuse at all during the relationship. And I think Johnny Depp's going to have a hard time convincing the jury that there was absolutely no abuse. And that's what he needs to do in order to show that Heard is a liar. He needs to say it was all completely fabricated, that there was no abuse at all. That's what his attorneys attempted in their closing statements. They argued that she fabricated all of this. However, if you look at the evidence, Amber Heard had her sister testify that she witnessed Johnny Depp smack her in the face multiple times. So not only does the jury have to believe that Amber's a liar, they have to believe that her sister's a liar too. At least two people completely fabricating this story. There's photos with bruises on Amber Heard. There's one photo, at least, with a bruise on her arm. There's a video of Johnny Depp acting that what appears to be fairly out of control. And there's also a whole bunch of text messages that are very damaging to Mr. Depp. Additionally, some of Amber Heard's witnesses testified that Johnny Depp could be extremely vicious and mean at certain times. So the jury doesn't have to buy all of her story. The jury doesn't have to buy most of her story. The jury doesn't even have to buy half of her story. All they have to buy is that there was some abuse by Depp. And if there was some abuse, even in a mutually abusive relationship, her statement, the article that she put out by Vanity Fair, would be true and would defeat his case. And I think that that's the reasoning and the evidence that supports that reasoning as to why Mr. Depp will lose. I also believe Amber will lose in her counterclaim for basically the same reasons. She's not going to be able to say that Johnny Depp was a complete liar here. There was mutual abuse on both sides in a very toxic relationship. Now, just because Mr. Depp loses his lawsuit doesn't mean he lost the war. I do think that he, in a lot of ways, exposed Amber Heard for being somebody who appeared to be fairly manipulative and at least to be lying part of the time. So in that case, it has rehabilitated his image because, after 2018, if you just read her article and saw the way the media reacted, you would believe that there was only abuse coming from Mr. Depp, that he's a monster, he's this terrible star, he needs to be Me Too'd, etc., etc., when the reality was, it was this big back and forth. And I think Depp exposed that reality, showed that he's not the monster that maybe the media painted him to be after the Vanity Fair article, and has cleared his name to a certain degree. Also, I think he's done a public service to a certain degree, because for a while there, anytime an allegation came out, the media and the public was just automatically believing it. And this trial has shown that you can't just automatically believe a statement. Just because there's smoke doesn't always mean that there's fire. Oftentimes there may be, but just because you see the smoke doesn't mean that there's fire. Just because you see footprints in the snow does not mean that someone made those footprints, or that the person you think did it. Okay, it's not 100%. And so I think Depp showed that. You know, in this country, in the criminal law, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. The reason for that is because the evidence has to be presented, and then the other side has to have an opportunity to present their evidence, and then both sides have to have the opportunity to cross-examine the witnesses on other side. And then only when all the cards are out are on the table does the law deem it fit for a jury, which has gone through an excruciating process to be found to be fair. Only then does this fair jury make a decision or come to a conclusion. And for too long in this country, we've jumped to conclusions immediately. And this trial has shown you can't do that. There's often much more context to a situation. And let me say also, a lot of victims who come forth also for a very long time in this country, they were immediately disbelieved. And you can't do that either. The truth is often so much more complicated, and only when the evidence is presented and all the facts are known, or at least as many as that can be brought forth, should a decision be made. So keep that in mind in your own life. I think that's a lesson to be taken from this trial. See the facts, see all the evidence, listen to both sides, and then run those facts through the gauntlet of whether or not they're being truthful. Cross-examine, test those facts, then arrive at your decision, and make sure your decision is based on the evidence. So Depp will lose his case. Heard will lose her case. But Johnny Depp will emerge the winner, having cleared his name and also having taught the American people an important lesson. That is my take from this case. That's my conclusion. That's my verdict prediction. Give the jury 3 to 5 days and then come back and let me know if you think I was right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is Joe Pometto, Joe the Lawyer. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I was correct in my prediction for the Derek Chauvin trial. I was off on Ahmaud Arbery, though. I was half correct. I thought they would be found guilty, but not of all the charges. They were found guilty. So I got a 1.5 out of 2 so far. So let's see how I do on this Depp trial. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, share, watch my videos in the future. Thank you.